I was skimming through this report this week, something like AI and authoritarian regimes, and it occurred to me that a lot of the discourse we're seeing now is, commentary about like disinformation and what's going on and how it's shaping the geopolitical environment and the role of technology and all that. But a lot of the commentary I'm seeing is like really, quite frankly, very boring. And that's what occurred to me as I was reading this report. I'm like, wow, I'm bored just reading this. And I was bored for two reasons. And I want to talk about this today because I think that it's actually what a lot of this analysis is missing the point on when it comes to what's happening in security and defense and intelligence right now. Is first of all, the reports constantly paint one side as the victim and one side as the aggressor. So I'm reading English language reports. I'm in Canada. So a lot of what I'm reading is, oh, Canada, the West, victim, victim, authoritarian regimes attacking, spreading disinformation. But I mean, you can bet that circulating around Russia somewhere is, oh, Western countries, very bad, attacking us, poor little Russians over here. So I assume that every country has the same thing, that their think tanks are producing these reports that are casting themselves as victims and the rest of the world is this bad place who's attacking them. And I think that it really stifles discourse when we go into it in that way. Because as we all know, anybody who reads 5 minutes of espionage history, like it's all over the place. It's back and forth. It's not even really a two-sided thing. But I mean, people, all countries are both offensive and defensive in this space, or the vast majority of them are. So to kind of pretend that, one group, one side, well, that there are two sides and one of them's always on the defensive, it doesn't make any sense. And it also just distorts everything, right? Like, not all democracies are same. I hate the concept of the West, drives me bonkers. There's so many different countries in the West that are have very fundamentally different values, that to lump all these countries together, and I think it's the same for like authoritarian regimes, like China and Russia are not the same. And so when we lump everybody in these monoliths and then we pretend that, one side is a victim and one side is an aggressor, it really makes the analysis really shallow and, to me, uninteresting. And then the other thing I find is, I don't know if you're seeing this a lot too, but I see the word unprecedented all the time, like unprecedented attacks, unprecedented information, unprecedented change in human behavior, unprecedented. And like, it's bullshit, right? None of this is unprecedented. I would not ever use that word. In the history of the world, there have been times when we have had massive sort of paradigm shifts or revolutionary changes because of advances in communications and information technologies. Okay, I had a professor once who insisted that the telegraph was the most, like, beyond the internet, the most revolutionizing piece of technology that came out in communications, because for the first time, the speed of communication was independent of the physical carrier, whether it was like the boat, the horse, the human, right? So the fact that information could move so much faster, it created huge changes in the way societies were organized. We got railroads, it changed our business structures, we got middle management. My favorite one, and the one that I think had some of like the biggest impacts, is the printing press. Before the printing press, like it was so different, and then you got the printing press, and like now information could be copied, could be shared widely. People had access to it. It changed our memories. It changed the way we had to organize information in our heads. It created professions like, optics for reading glasses, and it made these huge advances in optics, the printing press, because now these people needed reading glasses. Like, the changes that have come from technologies have been these massive big ones. So like, we'll put the internet in there as well, AI now, another. They are big and they are massive, but they are not unprecedented. So you can also bet, of course, the printing press was immediately used to print, propaganda for the state or religious propaganda or whatever. It was started putting out propaganda almost as soon as it started putting out like books. And the telegraph as well. I mean, now the speed of communication could start influencing geopolitical events like a lot faster, right? So all of these technologies, yes, they had changes, but they were also co-opted and absorbed into the security, defense, international relations infrastructure, exactly like the technologies that we have today. So is AI, a big thing? Of course. Is it unprecedented in terms of what it's doing? I don't think so. I mean, yes, it's maybe speeding up the pace of disinformation. Um, is it, making disinformation like relevant for the first time ever? Absolutely not. So I find that a lot of these reports that I see or articles that I read, because they don't acknowledge the historical context and because they are very narrow descriptors of the actors involved, they make really sort of shallow arguments to me that are very facile and I don't think are very useful in terms of understanding how this technology is really going to impact us in this space. Um, so let me know thoughts, comments, questions. I'd love to hear it. I mean, do you think this stuff is a game changer in ways that we've never seen? If so, why? Or are you more along the lines like me that it's impacting us in fundamentally similar ways, and it's just up to us to get a handle on how to maneuver around maybe like the speed or the density of changes. Otherwise, I hope everyone's doing wonderful.